Hi, I'm Beau Lotz. I've been a performance coach for 20 years now, and I'm here with DesireList. Well, I'm initially from Memphis, Tennessee. I was born and raised there. My mom and dad were both in the fitness industry as well. My mom's been a physical therapist for over 40 years, and my dad was a strength and conditioning coach for 35 years. I actually got into it on default when I was younger. My dad had got sick. He had opened his own place after he left the University of Memphis, which he was a strength coach there for a long time for, and I got thrown in the fire. My mom was a PT. My dad said, "Look, you gotta hop in. We need help." And I'm a teenager at the time. I don't know. I'm not certified. What do I do? And he said, "I'll show you what to do. We have to run the business. This is our family business. We got to do it." And from then on, it was every extra minute I got. If I wasn't at school studying or playing soccer, getting ready for college, I was there training anytime I could, and that's what kind of catapulted me into the industry, because I was in there and then I enjoyed doing it and I loved it, and the rest is history. So I was fortunate to play about every sport under the sun. My dad played professional football, and my mom played all kinds of sports as well, ran track, etc. I did everything. I loved track initially, track and soccer. My dad actually had a European exchange program back in the 80s where he went and brought all these strength coaches from all around the world together, and they integrated ideas. Instead of just thinking of one system of training, etc., they thought of many facets, put them together, put a program together, brought that back to the United States. My dad actually brought a couple of the scientists from Europe and Russia and elsewhere back over to the States, and a couple of them lived with us. So I actually became kind of a guinea pig. So I'd be in the front yard of my house, running with parachutes, doing plyometrics. One of the guys who lived with us is actually the father of shock training, which is plyometrics. He invented the system of jumping, etc., the actual system. And let's just say I learned a whole lot at a very young age. So every camp we did, I was the guy out in front of college players demonstrating to them. Mind you, I was 8 years old at the time, and on, as I got older. So it has always been part of me. And then all the camps we did were all sports camps. So I grew up doing tennis, soccer, basketball, baseball, football, track, whatever I wanted to do, my parents were open to it. So I got to do that. And I think it gave me a broad spectrum on how things go. I would love for my kids to love and be into all sports, but they like sports. My daughter, my oldest daughter, Bella, she can play any sport. My son, he's learning to play sports. He's running now, doing stuff. He likes soccer. And then my youngest, she'll do anything. She was like myself and my wife. We're gonna play, do whatever we can. My wife and I both played college soccer. So of course we want one of them to love soccer, and she seems to be the one that loves soccer. But the other two will play any sport, do anything, and then as long as I'm outside doing something, they'll do it. If I'm inside, they'll rather read or do something else. But as with anything, if you go outside and start doing it, your kids are gonna follow you. Get out there and start enjoying it themselves. So. You know what? I will be the one and only soccer player that never followed UEFA Cup, any kind of Champions League or anything. Now, however, World Cup, I've rooted for Germany my entire life. Used to be West Germany, of course now it's Germany. So anytime Germany's playing, that's who I'm rooting for. Actually, it goes back to the European exchange my dad had back then. He brought a bunch of clothing back from West Germany at the time for the soccer and stuff, Adidas. Well, I have been fortunate to work with thousands of high school students. We used to have teams come in and stuff like that on a daily basis, and we trained through them from all sports backgrounds. Colleges, same thing. Most of those players end up going to college and play, so I've worked with a ton of them, and on the top end of that, there's a fair amount of them that end up going to play professional ball. Currently, I have over 20 guys that start in the NFL. I got my start. I used to travel with NBA players, so I still keep in touch with the European leagues, NBA. I have, over 15 guys currently starting in those leagues as well. I guess the thing I can say is if anybody out there is playing fantasy football or basketball, there's a chance you got a couple of my guys on your team. So, what has worked for me when I motivate my clients is them knowing that I also do every workout they have. Everything that I have put together, every program I've done it in some form, shape, fashion I have done it, been able to do it. And then let's say, so I have corporate athletes most of the day. You're training corporate athletes. That's somebody who comes in at 4 or 5 a.m. They want to train hard. They want to know that you can train hard too. So you got to be upbeat, peppy as if I've had coffee, all night long. And you just got to get after it. Let them know, and you got to pay attention to everything. As long as I'm paying attention, making sure that they're developing strength and getting better every week, then that's motivation enough. Look, last week you lifted this week you did that. Last week you jumped this high, this week you're jumping this high. With the professionals, I have to go out there and perform with them. If we go run, let's say 400-meter dash as an example, I have to be able to run with them the whole time. I can't be way behind just kind of yelling at them. I go and run with them. It's one thing I've done my whole life, and I think that has helped propel myself to be able to train other professional athletes as well, because I make it part of my life to be in just as good a shape as them. It doesn't mean I can go catch the ball as well as them or perform on the field as well, but I'm going to get out there and push them so that they give it everything every time they come out. The first time I met my wife, my wife and I, we've been together 12 plus years. We met back in college, and I used to always play Wheel of Fortune, or we would, watch in their dorms, whatnot, play Wheel of Fortune, and I always said, I'm going to be on that show one day. She's like, okay. And I would always say, and we'd always watch. We were together, we got married, kept watching, and then one day, last year, my wife says, hey, by the way, I need you to go audition for Wheel of Fortune. I said, what are you talking about? She said, well, I sent your information to them, and they said the callbacks are this week, and they happen to be in Atlanta, right up the street from my gym. And I was like, oh, okay, sure, I'll go, whatever. And I went there, and look, I'm competitive, I'm gonna tell you. And right when I got there and I knew it wasn't just a cattle call, they had already picked out who they wanted. They had a certain number of each. I won't give away too many details for obvious reasons. But let's just say we played some Wheel of Fortune, we took some brain teasers, had a final cut. I got a letter later that said I was gonna be on it, and that was it. And I just had to mentally prepare to be on the show. So it was literally, so the number one thing on my bucket list was play Wheel of Fortune. I know that seems silly to a lot of people, but when I tell you I wanted to play Wheel of Fortune from the time I was this old, watching with my mom, my dad, my grandmother, and then somehow it came to reality. I just kept putting it out there that I was gonna be there, and then my wife pushed me and nudged me that final step, we gotta say. Because normally I'd be like, it's not a big deal. They're not gonna ever pick me. And, hey, obviously I did well enough to get on the show. So, and then by far one of the best experiences of my life. So clients have asked me before, why do I always have a positive attitude? And how do you have a positive attitude? I have 3 wonderful kids and a great wife at home. There's other things in life that might get in your way. Well, you've gotta keep business, keep personal. And that's just kind of how I've always done things. When I walk in the door, my client doesn't care. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. They do actually care. They do care how I'm doing, but most importantly, I need to know that they're doing well. So whatever it is, I better walk in, I better go. Let's say I had a bad night, for instance, didn't sleep well, things happen. I come in, I'm gonna come in even earlier that morning, get a 15-minute workout in just to charge my batteries and get me pumping for the day. I have to, because when the client walks in, I can't be sitting there on my phone, doodling around, when I know that they have to meet the next level of whatever their goals might be. So yeah, that's it. No coffee, just pump it out, do what I need to do. I have to throw in leg movements though. That's one of my key things. I have to throw in some leg movements when I get there. I get in there, do the certain warm-ups type stuff real quick, and then get a good pump and be ready. And the pump is more of a just heart pump. I don't mean trying to get in there and get yoked up before my client comes in there. I need to get everything flowing, the blood flowing nicely, energy in the gym. You gotta pump it up. You gotta keep it going.